Hi guys, I hope I am audible to everyone. So let's start with today's session. So it's basically a planning session for upcoming September-November attempt. So we will be focusing exactly that how you have to proceed for upcoming attempt, which all chapters will require more attention of yours, how we will be proceeding, what all is expected from you. So we will be discussing everything. Now before we discuss that exactly how we will be proceeding, first let me take you through complete index so that you can understand what all is there in this entire subject, because many students are confused generally. Given an option to choose SPs, the most I would say the option that students chooses SP1, SP2 and SP5. So supposingly if someone is working in SP2, generally they are confused in SP1 and SP5. So why to choose SP1, that we have already discussed in SP1 session. So basically in this session we will be discussing all about SP5. So if I discuss the index page, you can see that nothing is there in chapter 1, it's just introduction to subjects SP5. Well, you can just skip this chapter is irrelevant. Coming to chapter 2, see derivatives part 1. So basically what does this chapter teaches you is, it teaches you about futures, options, different types of futures, different types of options, and what exactly is there in the over the counter markets. So details of workings of forwards, basically that is there in chapter 3. We will be understanding okay, what are the payoffs from call option, what are the payoffs from put option, short position, long position, payoff at terminal value, different payoff diagrams, questions based on the different payoffs. So that is there in chapter 3. So chapter 2 and chapter 3 can be difficult for those students basically who are not very good with numericals. So they require a lot of understanding, they require a lot of application. This is one such SP in which the initial chapters are also difficult. So chapter 2 is easy, but chapter 3 is definitely a bit difficult, and there are questions targeting as high as 10 to 12 marks as well from chapter 2, 3. Now coming to specialist asset classes 1 and specialist asset classes 2. So basically they talk about different type of asset classes, different type of financial instruments which are available for lending, different type of instruments available for borrowing. Like we will be discussing ki, repos, what are repos, government, what are different bills of exchange, how do bills differ from commercial paper, what are credit derivatives, how do they work, what are credit linked notes, swaps, swaptions, how are swaptions linked, how do we actually enter into swap, complete workings of swaps, different types of swap, different types of options, callable bond, puttable bond, private debt, different limitations of debt. So we will be discussing about different type of assets basically, which can be a source of borrowing, which can be a source of lending basically in chapter 4. Chapter 5 talks about characteristics of specialist financial instruments. So be it say securitization, you will be learning about securitization in this chapter. How do hedge funds work, how do infrastructure assets work, how do commodities work, what are structured products, what are the different ways of investing in old asset classes. So basically chapter 4 and chapter 5 are more important from learning point of view, because you will get the base of different financial instruments. So once you get the base of different financial instruments, it becomes easy to value the investments. So we will not be learning about valuation in this chapter, we will just be learning the characteristics. So it's more of learning chapters. So chapter 4 or chapter 5 are also asked in exams, sometimes as high as 15 marks as well, because lot of direct bookwork question can also come from these chapters, or it can be asked in the form of application style chapters as well. Chapter 6, economic influences, basically it just talks about environmental influences, like we have central banks, what are the functions of central bank, how do they do print money, what are the different investor classes involved, what is the role of government, different types of government policy, general how do interest rates impact the domestic economy, impact of exchange rate. So all this is there in basically economic influences unit. So this is easy chapter, economic influences, application oriented plus easy. Then we have theory of finance, again very good chapter. we talk about behavioral finance, we talk about different types of behavioral economics. So if you are the person who learns to understand different types of behavior, so everything about different types of behavior, herd theory, nudge theory, anchoring, prospect theory, we will be discussing each and everything with respect to different behavior, with respect to financial planning, be it long term, short term, be it medium term financial planning, because it talks about finance or talks about all financial economics. Then see, you have regulation of financial services as another chapter. So this is again easy chapter, short chapter. It just talks about different principles, basically legislative and regulatory framework for managing investment, for managing the entire securities industry. So different type of regimes, different types of regulation, easy chapter. If you have done CP1, this is just a copy paste chapter from CP1. Then see chapter 9 and 10, impact of legislative and regulatory framework 1, impact of legislative and regulatory framework 2. So what do these chapters do is, basically as the name suggests, economic framework for investment management, regulatory framework for investment management, legislative framework for investment management. So there are different principles which underlie your legislative framework, which underlie your regulatory framework, and we will be understanding those principles in the previous chapter, but we will be understanding that how those principles can be applied. Say how do we apply principle of corporate governance, how do monopolies are regulated, what to make sure that fair trading practices are there, what are different environmental and ethical issues to consider, what are the different roles and responsibilities of directors, what are the investment restrictions and investment agreements. So all this specifically related to a legislative and regulatory framework with respect to say trustees. We have one complete question that can be framed on corporate governance. Then you have listing authorities, how to make sure equalization is there. Then the very favorite question of examiner is on investment mandates. Basically what are the different restrictions that when you are investing, what are the different restrictions that you are exposed to. So that is another favorite question. This is easy bookwork questions or bookwork style chapters. So SP5 basically is mix of chapters. Some chapters are very easy in the sense that you get direct questions, and some chapters can turn out to be too difficult that you will even not understand the concepts behind that. So these two chapters just talk about again theory, or there are like different conflicts of interest, or what are the institutional practices to consider, what are the different type of mandates to consider. So all this is there in these chapters. We will be picking on say reporting standards, IFRS rules and regulations, so that's there in this unit. Now see another chapter, we have fundamental analysis, very important chapter, fundamental analysis. So if you understand fundamental analysis, basically it's one important area, it's the means by which investors try to find out the value of investments. Investors try to determine whether or not to buy, whether or not to sell or not. Basically we try to find out the price at which can be bought and sold, and then we check, compare that price with the price that is prevailing in the market. So fundamental value is basically when you are using cash flows, when you are trying to estimate earnings, and in order to determine whether your particular market or your particular stock is undervalued or overvalued. So fundamental analysis, lot of time, because we would be calculating different ratios to model the company, to assess the performance of the company. We will be using different sources of information basically to assess the performance, and based on that we will be checking out. So basically it involves the use of different ratios. So this chapter is not easy because we have to first understand the ratios, then we have to apply our skills, we have to apply our application. For example, fundamental analyst also investigates say different ratios, investigates the level of borrowing, investigates a level of liquidity, investigates how there is a growth in asset value, investigates the different companies. So rating structure is there, like we do analysis of bonds. Now how do we do analysis of bonds? By doing credit ratings. So we try to find out what's the reason for borrowing, then we try to find out the expected source of repayment, then we will analyze the risk that can lead to non-payments, then we try to identify the structure of borrowing. So all this is you will be learning. So fundamental analysis itself is one major chapter. Then you have valuation of investments 1, valuation of investments 2, extremely important. You will be learning calculation based chapters, you will be learning how to determine the value of individual investments. Say if you are getting fixed income, for example it is an interest rate swap or a future, how will you determine the value at that time? If we have arbitrage pricing, the concept of hedging, how do we calculate forward rate agreements, how do we try to find out the value of forward rate agreements, how do we try to find out the value of swaptions, basically how do we determine different yields. So, lot of concepts are there, but using the same terminology that you have learned in chapter 4-5. So, the products will be, because the characteristics of products you have learned there, in this unit you will be understanding their valuation. So, it just revolves around valuing of different type of assets that we have already studied before. Extremely important. There are so many students who commit mistakes because they are not able to understand the concepts, they are not able to understand the formula, because if you do not understand their stream of cash flows, obviously you will do mistakes in calculation. So, how do interest rate caps are there, how do interest rate floors work, everything we will be understanding in these two chapters. So, extremely important. So, then comes your chapter 14, industry classification. Again this is now your theory chapter, industry classification. So, you will what do you understand by industry classification basically? So, as you see it is a mix of chapters. First we have lot of theory going on, then comes numerical, then theory, then numerical. So, industry classification may, for example, if you are categorizing shares with respect to industry, if you are categorizing shares with respect to a particular factor, how do we categorize industries? Say we have consumer good, we have healthcare products, we have consumer services product, we have utility products, we have say financial products. So, we will be understanding different products, we will be understanding different industries, we will be understanding their sectors, and based on that we will be understanding their characteristics. So, easy chapter, not difficult, easy. Then see, you have chapter 15, investment indices. Again you will understand the construction of different index, you will understand the use of different index, you will understand the problems underlying construction, you will understand the uses of different index. So, we will be understanding basically how to calculate index. For example, if it is a total return index, how do we calculate total return index, if it is a weighted arithmetic index, if it is a geometric index, what are the different uses to which this index, how do we actually measure performance using these values. So, again good chapter, not difficult chapter, good chapter, application based chapter. Then you have see chapter 16, 17, performance measurement 1, performance measurement 2. Again one of the most difficult chapter, performance measurement, because you will learn lot of things. You will try to assess the performance of a portfolio respect to a particular index, respect to a particular benchmark portfolio. We will understand the merits of assessing portfolio performance, we will understand different uses of performance measures. So, like money weighted rate of return, time weighted rate of return, linked rate of return, we will understand the differences of MWRR, TWRR, LIRR, how do we compare portfolio performance with a particular index, that is very important. Basically we will be understanding that there are different ways of assessment, say based on return, we will be assessing relative performance, maybe we will be monitoring with respect to the weights assigned, we will try to find out the sector component. For example, if one particular asset is outperforming the other, what are the sector components of outperformance, what are the stock components of outperformance. So, there is lot to learn, because you will be understanding stock selection performance, you will be understanding sector selection performance. So, we will be understanding the differences and will be assigning that to different measures. There are different risk adjusted return measures to be used. So, it is actually extremely important chapter from exam perspective, and it can come as high as 20 to 25 marks as well. So, many times there is one particular section which has been tested and it can go as high as 25 marks as well. So, extremely important. Chapter 17 is basically easy, and nothing is there, you just need to spend say half hour in just going through the material, that is it. Nothing is there in chapter 17, but 16 is extremely important. Then see, we have chapter 18 which talks about risk control. another important chapter from application style questions perspective. You will understand how to control different type of risk, how to monitor different type of risk. For example, we have market risk, we have credit risk, we have operational risk, we have liquidity risk, relative performance risk. So we will be understanding about each risk, we will be understanding, say, how do we check for the risk. For example, if I ask you to check for relative performance risk, how do we actually monitor those risks. So extremely important chapter from application style questions point of view, because you can get theory questions, that too application based questions from this chapter. Then you have, say, actuarial techniques 1, actuarial techniques 2. So you will be understanding how to come to an appropriate investment strategy. We will understand ALM basically, how to do ALM, what are the different asset pricing models to use, how do we check for ALM reserving. So complete stage of ALM, how do we present ALM results, how do we choose different investment strategy. This is what we understand by in chapter 19. Then you have chapter 20, which talks about liability hedging, basically how to select assets that perform in same way as your that perform in same way as your liability, so that you are not concerned about deviation in assets and liability performance. How to do liability driven investment, that liabilities are a primary consideration when we are choosing asset allocation. So again, important unit from application style questions point of view. It's linked basically, that's why they two are tested together. Then next 3 chapters, portfolio measurement 1, portfolio management 2, portfolio management 3. It just talks about different styles of investment. We have active management style, like in active management also, is it momentum, is it growth, value, rotational. For example, if it's an equity portfolio, how to manage equity portfolio. If it's a bond portfolio, how to manage bond portfolio. So you will be learning about management of investment basically in first chapter. So it talks about different ways that you can invest. For example, if you are investing in government bonds, what else is the way of investing in government bond? What are the alternatives to investing in government bonds? If you are doing bond portfolios, then they can also be managed passively or actively. So how you can check for the outperformance. Similarly, if you are checking on equity performance or equity portfolio management, or how to make sure that you are checking the differences in yields, how to make sure that you are checking for differences in volatilities, differences in time. So everything is discussed in portfolio management. Then if we talk about portfolio management too, it actually uses different models, like you will be understanding how to calculate VAR, how to calculate error, tracking error basically, like how to use different type of multi-factor models in order to assess risk, because we will be understanding about basically tactical asset allocation in this chapter, that when we are constructing a portfolio, when we are managing an investment fund to cover liabilities, basically that involves 2-stage process. So first you have to determine an asset mix, and then you have to select one or more managers with respect to the decision on the appropriate level of risk that these managers can take. So we will be understanding all this basically in this chapter. Like if there is a one chapter, like chapter 11 was just focusing on fundamental analysis. In this chapter we will be talking about technical analysis, that how we can use past charts, how we can use the charts in order to determine the values, in order to determine the trading regions, in order to determine when do we have a sell signal, when do we have a buy signal. So basically it uses charts to understand about buying or selling. Then there is an important concept which is there in this chapter, that is risk budgeting. Risk budgeting talks about that how much risk to take, and basically where is it most important to take the risk. So it's a summary of the steps that we need to follow while doing risk budgeting. So that is another important basically section from which questions can come in exam. Risk budgeting can come as high as 15 marks as well. And then finally third chapter of portfolio management, it talks about transition management, different asset allocation techniques, different types of derivative contracts, different uses of futures and options. So mix of for example, if I ask you uses of swaps and how we can actually reduce certain I mean uncertainties while using swaps, what are the different risks that can be covered if we are using say options or if we are using say futures. So, we will try to understand with respect to the market. For example, if you are expecting market to fall in with this type of situation, how options can help. If we are to protect against a rise in the market, then we can buy a call option. So, we will be understanding how do naked call work, how do straddles work. So, there are different, how do currency hedging work. So, again बहुत detailed chapter I am. So, 21, 22, 23 again significant time would be spent on these chapters. And the last chapter is all about taxation, basically different ways in which your returns are taxed and how do they impact investor behavior. It is completely independent chapter. How is CGT work, how do corporate taxation work. Like there are the different systems of corporate taxation. One is classical system, imputation system, split rate system. So, how do these work, that is there in this chapter. So, as you can see, I have not said in any of the chapter that this is not important or this is just easy chapter, because the syllabus is also very high for SP5 compared to other SP. Syllabus is there. Do not compare in terms of chapters. Basically, we have to check in terms of the content of the chapters, and it is very heavy. Basically, the syllabus of SP5 is very heavy because each and every chapter has its own difficult content, and that is why SP5 becomes difficult. But yes, it's investment chapter, it's investment paper, basically it's finance and investment paper, and the importance of finance is increasing day by day. That's why we have more and more students who are giving SP5. So, you just need to plan well. Basically, it's not like that that you will be spending time on learning of the products and you will be able to reciprocate their characteristics. It doesn't work like this. It's actually more of as I said, it's more of application based chapter. So, first we want you to focus on the specifics, and those specifics may basically we will discussing in 2, 3, 4, 5. So, chapter 2 and 3 they talk about your different types of derivatives, the working of derivatives, their payoffs understanding. Chapter 4, 5 talks about different financial instruments. So, there are key reasons basically that basically you should know when you are doing SP5, you should be able to understand that how different portfolios are built to meet your particular liability profiles, and based on the risk appetite of different investors. We focus on ALM management, we focus on hedging with derivatives, we try to understand investor psychology. That is why behavioral finance is important. So, if you are planning to enter into role of asset management or pension fund management or investment consulting or ERM, definitely you need to plan SP5. So, it can be paired up with SA7 as well, and if you have given SP1 or SP2 and you are working in respective say health or life and you want to pair it up with other SP, definitely go ahead with SP5, because it's actuarial work understanding specific to investment and finance. So, you actually are able to design investment portfolios, you are able to manage investment portfolios, you are able to regulate investment portfolios. So, whatever you have learnt in economic frameworks, basically that we will be applying in real world financial risk management through study of SP5. Now, how do we exactly work is, let me explain you. So, we will be meeting basically every week, and we will be doing discussion. And in the discussion, I will be focusing on each and everything. We will be doing content discussion as well. So, when we are doing content discussion, we are covering the co-reading. So, you do not have to go through co-reading, content discussion will be covered in our live sessions only. And we will be focusing on questions as well. And when I say questions, we will cover all the questions, be it practice questions at the end of the chapter, be it past papers questions. And when I say past papers, we will be covering II and IFA questions both. So, I will be telling you, okay, this is II question or this is IFA question. So, accordingly you need to spend time. And in case you are not available for the live session, the video of that will get uploaded on the portal. Then we have unit wise assignments, we have unit wise tests, and finally we have mocks. So unit wise assignments, we have 4 unit wise assignments, unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, unit 4, where we have given you a list of questions, and once we complete a significant set of chapters, you are supposed to complete that assignment and submit. Similarly, we have test scheduled, and the syllabus of test is also fixed. So based on that, you need to attempt your test and you will get detailed feedback on your attempted test. Similarly, we have 2 mocks as well scheduled. So you need to attempt your mocks in proper examinable material, I mean in same style format as it gets tested in exam, and you will get detailed feedback on that. So what is important in SP5 is not to rush with the syllabus. It's easy for me to complete 25 chapters, but it's difficult, extremely difficult to learn those 25 chapters. So we have to understand where to push the course, and we have to understand where we have to pause it, or we have to go it very slowly, so that you guys are able to catch with the concepts well. In next session, basically we will be starting with a course with chapter 2, and once we come chapter 2, we will move to chapter 3. Post that, one session on question discussion of chapter 2, 3. Post that, we will go with chapter 4, 5 and so on. So it's like a mix of sessions that will continue, and we will be focusing on content and questions both. So this was all about planning of SP5. Basically, I wanted to make you guys understand that what all the content is there, and based on the content how we are planning. So whether you are giving exam from UK or from II, you have your respective schedule uploaded on the portal. So we will try to cover each and every topic as per the schedule that is there on the portal. So you don't have to worry about syllabus completion and everything. You can leave that part on us. Focus just on attending of live sessions, and if not able to attend, completion of videos. Already if you have enrolled, you are provided with a set of lectures that have been taken in the past. So we will provide you targets as well every Monday. For example, if there is a target, say that we are going to discuss about derivatives, so what is expected is you can just complete your derivatives videos in advance, so that in the session you would have more to participate, or you would be able to understand more if you have watched. In case even if you don't have time to watch, it's completely fine, because we are doing everything from the start. So from 0 to 100 we will be moving in the live session only. So okay, then let's start with discussion of derivatives in the next session. So with this we wind up for the day. Thank you.